Hello, everyone. I'm Jason Clinkscales. I am a reporter and editor here at Sportico, and I have the privilege of chatting with Nick Barlage, who is the CEO of the Cleveland Cavaliers, along with many other entities as part of the Rock family of companies with Dan Gilbert. Nick, happy to have you on. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, Jason, thanks for having us. It's exciting times.
So, for those who've read Sportico, you recently read a story that we did about the Cavaliers and their brisk business in light of this incredible undefeated streak that they've gone on. They come into a game on Tuesday night where they are 15-0 going against the NBA champion Boston Celtics. It is an exciting game, to say the least. One of the most anticipated regular season games we've had in a long time, especially in light of the NBA Cup and all these factors we're going to get into the short video. But I wanted to talk with Nick about how business has been doing since we published the article. You can go in there and take a look at it now on Sportico.com. They have done great business in terms of ticket sales, in terms of merchandise, in terms of viewership. So this would be a chance for us to get a little bit of an update on how they've done, especially in the 2 home games they've had since the article. So, Nick, if you want to let me know how things have been going the last few days and leading into the game coming up on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, first this is it's such a unique moment, to start a season in this way, and so it's also humbling. We have such great support from our fans, people reaching out really from around the world. At the end of the day, just wishing this team, great luck as we go forward. And obviously Tuesday's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great test. I mean, the Boston Celtics are not the defending champs for no reason, and they have a great group over there. And so we look forward to kind of, seeing what this is all about. It's great for the NBA. It's great for obviously the teams that are involved, but for the broader scope of the overall league as well. And, yes, the business has just been in such an incredible place because we have really, at the end of the day, the most remarkable fans, we feel like, in the world. We launched our City Edition uniform we wore for the first time last night, which is kind of like a Carolina blue, but it's in partnership with the Cleveland Museum of Art, which is one of the top 5 art museums in the country. And so our retail sales last night alone, which is the first time they went on sale during a game when we were wearing the jerseys, we were up 236% year over year from a similar game from our City Edition from last year, and we thought those were pretty unique as well. And so we have this kind of mantra where we want to try to really showcase and take Cleveland to the world. And when you go through when you have a little bit of a streak like this, it gives you so many unique opportunities to engage, interact, and widen the net of Cavaliers fans, not just in Northeast Ohio, but across the country and across the world. And we're working every day tirelessly to make sure that we're making the most of this impact, and making sure that we're doing it with an eye to building our community, and we think that's so important.
And speaking of the community, and you sort of mentioned how the footprint is much larger than the Cleveland area, but I want to get to the DMA itself. Here's the Cleveland, Akron, and Canton DMA itself. When we spoke before, local telecasts so far this season have averaged a 4.2 rating, which was about a 29.2% year-to-year increase versus last year. And your last game against the Philadelphia 76ers, prior to that game, the last 4 telecasts have averaged a 5.2 rating. So, as mentioned, there have been a couple of games since. How have those numbers been so far?
Yeah, look, as you mentioned, we're up a little, actually over 30% now after the last few, and actually that Philly game you mentioned was our highest local RSN rating that we did in the last 5 years. So it was a 6.2, and it was it was obviously greatly followed. But we're seeing all those kind of metrics just shoot in kind of a meteoric fashion, or in a hockey stick fashion, as some would like to say, across the board. Whether it's ticket sales, merchandise, viewership, corporate interest is really at a significant high as well. And so we're really in a place where, and I will say this, and I think I said this in the article as well, but about 4 years ago when we were coming out of the pandemic, we really re-engineered the business to be ready for a moment like this. Everyone always talks about being big wave ready in sports.
Right.
We wanted to create our own, and then when that wave came, we wanted to stretch it to new heights. And we really feel like whether it's the ticketing model that we've deployed over the last 3 or 4 years, or whether it's the mousetrap we've been building from a social media perspective that feeds viewership and feeds retail and feeds all these other veins and arteries of our business, we feel like it's really all kind of clicking and hitting at an all-time high right now as the streak has really pushed us forward in so many great ways.
Can you give us a vibe of what it's like right now in Cleveland? In a sense, not just, we know the fans are excited, but in terms of the business community that's there too. What's the vibe? It feels as if this is, it's one of those rare moments for the city of Cleveland where everybody bands around one team at this given moment, and it's just a fun time for the city.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of outreach during this is just it's just been phenomenal. Whether it's the mayor of the city of Cleveland texting support or posting support on social media, or the county executive giving me a call to just say congratulations, the business community on the broader scale. I'd say every game is like its own unique party. It's obviously got a playoff atmosphere to it right now, an energy and a vibe to it that's just immaculate. But whether it's the dancing frog, which if you've seen that on social media,
Yeah.
or if it's Unk out singing on the streets as fans are leaving the game, this thing has kind of taken on its own life of itself. And and look, I firmly believe this. Cleveland is a world-class city without the world-class egos, and we have world-class assets. And in moments like this, we get to showcase those. And there's such an endearing fabric that's been established within this city and in this region. And it's really an honor, and it's humbling to be able to showcase that through the platform we have with the Cavaliers, and do it in a way that amplifies even greater heights for the success that we've seen on the court, but really pours into the success that the community can receive off the court, whether it's in the bars and the restaurants or their hotel room stays or the economic impact that's created by these events. That's really ultimately, why we do this. We firmly believe we're stewards of this community asset. And for us, it's just about how can we make the greatest impact and make the greatest amount of return for the community at the end of the day. And that's really been borne out through this streak. And it's great just to have the spotlight on it, because it's work we do every day. Mm-hmm. But in moments like this, the spotlight just lightens it up a little bit more.
And, this game has incredible stakes to it. Obviously, it's an NBA Cup game. But on top of that, these two teams met in the playoffs last year. The Celtics, unfortunately, dispatched the Cavaliers in the playoffs last year to their 18th championship. But on top of that, you have the streak that you guys have versus them being defended champions. You have conference supremacy here. It's not just about the NBA Cup. These are the two teams at the top of the Eastern Conference. This earlier in the season, these sort of things do matter. So I'm quite sure that there's a heightened sense of really trying to establish who's the top dog in this conference right now.
Yeah, to your point, it's game 2 for us of the Emirates Cup, which is obviously we think is a really unique concept and something that we look forward to helping build as we move forward as a league. Look, let's also just have some perspective. It'll be November 19th, and that's very early on in the NBA season. And so, we're continuing to grow, we're continuing to build. We're going to enjoy these moments, don't get me wrong, but this is the start of a long year. And so for us, the streak is obviously capturing the imagination and the hearts and minds of so many. It definitely is for us as well. But it's still going to be November 19th. And so we have a lot to build into as we work through this season. We hope it's a long season, but we have a lot to build into that. And so, we're not going to get too high or too low based on a regular season outcome on November 19th. But don't get me wrong, we're going to come in and our guys are motivated. And to your point, obviously the Celtics dispatched us last year in the second round after we really took some great steps forward last season. But this will be a pretty iconic regular season game, I think, for both franchises. And it'll be a great kind of test for us. But let's not get lost in the fact that it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great atmosphere. But it's also November 19th. So we've got a lot of work to do as we look to carry this momentum throughout the entirety of the regular season and hopefully into the playoffs.
Absolutely love that perspective. So thank you so much, Nick, for taking the time to talk with us. And hey, if you haven't already, find the article and keep on reading Sportico.com.
Thanks, Jason.